So there were some questions like the primary purpose of the passage. Those kind of questions where sometimes I was stuck between two options. So there, the octave principle really helped me. What I did was, as to Sandeep sir had also mentioned this technique, that set a target of a few questions, then set a timer and solve those. So I used to do for every topic, let it be RC, CR, or SC. I used to pick up a set of 30 questions, and then set a timer, and then gradually practice to it. The particular flaw in my strategy was, uh, in mocks I used to not set a time where I exit the question. Exit time I had not set for a question, which Sandeep sir recommends that probably around 2 to 2.5 minutes that you should set for every. I did not set exit time, so I rumbled on and on in some of the questions, and that kept eating away at my time. And
Right. Hello, hi Mayank. Good
Hi,
afternoon. How are you doing?
Hi, Mayank.
good afternoon, Tasha. Good afternoon, Priyansha. I'm doing good. How are you? How are you all doing?
All very well. Thank you for asking. Thank you for joining in, Mayank. First of all, huge congratulations on your GMAT score. You had got the score some time ago, about 17th August.
Yeah.
And again, as GMAT 740, while we see that your breakdown was Quant 50 and Verbal 41. Many congratulations. First
Thank
thing
you.
first, I would just want to. So, what is your entire mindset? And let's go behind beyond maybe time when you initially started. So, when
Sure.
you took your journey for GMAT, what was your ideal score then, and how it all spanned? Please just give a little bit of background, and then we can get on with the GMAT preparation journey.
Sure. Actually, so at the start of the year, I had made up my mind that, probably a 1 year program or, a MBA outside makes sense for me given my profile and the amount of work experience that I've had. So then I took a call that I want to give GMAT. So I probably started with my preparation in around, I think, end of June, probably May end or just June start week. So initially I had given myself around 2 months to, I thought I went through the material and I went through the how GMAT exam works. And I thought, 2 months would be enough because in the past during college days, I've given GRE. And so I'm pretty, used to the format that the adaptive test format. So I thought, I'll be able to do it. So that's how I started my preparation. So initially, I was pretty strong in some aspects of verbal, but then what happened is, I was going through my preparation and I'm consulting, so it gets very hectic to then go around preparing after the hectic schedule that I have.
True.
So what happened is,
KPMG, you say, what was your duration of working hours every single day?
it's usually the standard is around 9 to 7, 8 sort of.
Right. Right.
But then during the hectic periods, when there's a deadline coming up or a
Audit.
presentation coming up, it does extend to, let's say, 9, 10, or 11, 11 for some that matter.
So on an average, about 10, 12 hours, you could say, every single day.
Yeah.
Weekends are spared? No, weekends. How about weekends?
Weekends, some weekends are hectic, but then most of the weekends, let's say 3 out of 4 weekends in a month, I get to myself.
Okay.
So,
That's
so weekends and probably, and I generally have been preparing for Indian B school exams as well since a couple of years back. So I have that tendency. I study after work, so I've built up that sort of habit. So I was
great.
comfortable with that. So I was comfortable giving 3 hours a day after work.
Right.
But the challenge I faced is, I had set myself a target for round one. So in the end, when SC was something I was pretty, I was not comfortable at. So what happened is I rushed SC during the last parts of my prep. I did not practice that much, and I thought, I just did a couple of 100 to 200 questions. I thought, I got it. So that's how I rushed my preparation for to meet the round one schedule. That's and in the mocks, I was consistently scoring above 760. The official mocks were pretty easy, so there I was getting 780s and stuff. So I was pretty confident that if even if I finished the exam, I would easily get a score much better than what I had gotten.
Are you happy with the score? 740?
I'm satisfied. Let's say I'm not happy. I'm satisfied.
Right, because at top
Honestly,
1%, Sandeep sir's motto, he would say, don't settle anything for 760.
exactly,
So
exactly.
that's one of the things. So what are the changes that you made? And it definitely looks that you made changes in the verbal section.
What I did was initially what I did is just took off GMAT off my plate for a couple of weeks. I just wanted to start with a fresh mind and a fresh slate. So I just gave it up for, let's say I started my second prep around September mid or something like that. So what I did is I again went to the SC concepts again, just to refresh my mind and just to start the process and again. So that's what I did. And this time what I did was I went through the entire question bank. I
Right,
deleted, I redid all the questions. The amount of questions that I solved earlier also, I just redid all of them. And I segregated, I formed a sort of a segregation as to questions which I did wrong in my first attempt when I'm attempting them, and questions which I thought were challenging to me. I got them right, but I was a bit hesitant, and there were a couple of things playing on my mind when I was attempting that question. So I did that segregation and solved consistently all the material, the roughly 600 to 700 questions in a go.
okay,
And then what I did was that built up a lot of confidence. Then I was very confident when I went into an answer. If I thought that was right, that built up my confidence as to yes, that answer is right and this is wrong. I was able to
right,
identify clearly what mistakes I was making and what
right.
I was getting right. So that gave me a lot of clarity. And then again, when I did the revisions and went through again the question that I solved and identified the error logs, then I formed a clear strategy as to what questions I'm lacking at and what do I need to do. So that really helped build up my belief.
I think that was the initial bit. First, you develop the depth, then you practice
Correct.
to a level where it is a muscle memory, you know,
Yes. True.
and then in the exam, you will not flutter. So, going a little flashback to your beginning of your preparation,
Yeah.
so because you come from engineering background, if I'm not wrong,
Correct.
yeah. So,
Correct.
how was Quant for you in the beginning of your journey? Was it always a strong suit? And how did you prepare from the Quant content? And then we'll talk about verbal right after.
So quant content I was pretty confident with to start
Right.
with also, because I've been doing quant and been associated with these questions since the beginning. So I'm pretty confident with the concepts also. So what I was initially, doing wrong in quant was in the data sufficiency questions. I was not following a pattern like to look for the first question first, then the second, then combine, and then see if that works out or not. Follow
Right.
that particular pattern. I was very haphazard in my approach. So that
Right.
is something what I streamlined initially. And then probably the data sufficiency part of it worked out. Problem solving I was already good at.
Right.
So that's how, that worked out for me.
Right. With content, any of it specifically helped you to kind of, get through data sufficiency? It's
Yeah,
video.
actually the first, I think in the 700 to 800 level, that PPT or that question bank helped me a lot.
Right.
The level of questions that were there for DS and for problem solving, that was very helpful for me. And
Right.
also the DS, I think 200 sets of two questions that Sir had provided
Right.
helped me solidify my belief and concepts. So that's pretty
Yep.
helpful for me. Yeah.
Even the way he's taught the structure in the videos as well, where you have to solve the question and then when you watch it, that correction happens, that makes a lot of difference. So coming forward with RC and CR and SC, SEO mentioned you had a tremendous challenge and you realized with RC and CR, did you have initial challenges at all in terms of understanding the context of the passage or any of it? How did you overcome any challenges during the preparation?
Yeah. So with RC, I was pretty confident with RC to start with. So I used to get 85 to 90% accuracy even
Wonderful.
when I started. So there were some questions like the primary purpose of the passage. Those kind of questions where sometimes I was stuck between two options. So there the octave principle really helped me. It really
Right.
gave clear direction as to how to approach those questions. Because the verify related questions I was pretty strong at to
Okay.
start with. So
Right.
that from that jump to 85, 90 to 95 to 100% accuracy. So the octave concept helped me a lot in that.
So
So I
you
must,
were already familiar with the V and E, verify and eliminate.
yeah,
You
correct,
had
correct,
to master OCTA, right?
correct,
All right.
correct, correct. Yeah.
Perfect. And any specific video sessions or material that kind of just helped you concrete, cement your entire concept around RC and CR?
RC, I think I've gone like the initial primary purpose video that sir has put out. I've gone through that video probably 2 or 3 times just to
Oh,
refresh my memory and redo those concepts and parallelly solve. As I'm watching that video, I parallelly pause the video, solve the question, and then look at the answers and see what approach sir is using and how he's approaching the problem.
right,
That was a game changer for me as to how he's looking at it. And also, I would like to mention that initially how I approached RC before getting to know Sandeep sir was I used to try and understand everything. I used to feel confident only when I understood the passage.
right,
But now in some questions like the fact-based questions,
right,
those those I used to get wrong many significant times because I
right,
used to try and make sense out of the words and put together a story in my mind, but that didn't work out. So then his approach, and when he mentioned that you shouldn't try to understand everything, rather use these sort of tricks and that will unlock the answers for you. So that really helped, honestly.
right.
Yeah,
In a span of preparation among all the aspirants, there's
yeah,
one thing. There are two things. Okay, one is of course a complete study plan and source approach and videos. Everything is there, right? And this is the reason which will get someone a 740, 770, 780, 760, right? Then the other bit is your habitual practice. One, two of which you mentioned that you have already habituated to work studying after work hours, and
yeah,
sometimes it can be very exhausting for a lot of students who are coming back to force because it's
yeah.
been very little time from you studying and then job. So you have adapted. So what are the other things that you would like to highlight which had helped you during the GMAT preparation? Any other habitual, your own personal things that you really put in your GMAT preparation? So, some people say they meditate and that kind of just help them, or early morning is their their strong suit. So what was it for you, Meg?
So for me, as to I think sitting for a consistent period of time, let's say an hour or two, that was a challenge. So
Right.
what I did was, as to Sandeep sir had also mentioned this technique, that set a target of a few questions, then set a timer and solve those. So I used to do for every topic, let it be RC, CR, or SC. I used to pick up a set of 30 questions, and then set a timer
Hmm.
and then gradually practice to it. What that did is that helped me build a habit of having my concentration for that elongated period of time. And also as a timer, what I used to do was initially started with a, let's say, probably more time. I gave myself much more time per question, and gradually with every practice session I kept decreasing the time, so that I put myself under that much of pressure and the challenging situation that I face in the exam. So that's how I built up all of my habits, so to say, for the exam.
Right. So
Yeah,
this is like an inside question. So it took you 2 months to get to your first attempt and 2 months to finally get the score and, seal that deal for you. So
true.
obviously in those 4 months, you've been actively working as well.
Yeah.
How did you try and keep up this challenge? Was there distraction? There obviously, what would you say? Maybe if you had prepared a year later, where the job would be even more demanding, the company would demand a lot from your position,
True.
would it have made a difference, or is this the right time? How would you package all of these things, in terms of the job being demanding, so many distraction, yet you put foot strong? What was that driving force for you?
I think honestly, the driving force for me was that I wanted to get a good score this year. I had set that target in my mind, and what I had done is initially I'd planned my month so and so that if I had already done the planning earlier, that I'll give my first attempt in August, and if things go wrong, I had a time in October and November that I'll do my second attempt. So I'd done all of those planning earlier, so that helped me build a bit of confidence. Even if I don't get it the first time, I can still manage the second time. And what I've done is I clearly segregated time where I'll give more priority to my GMAT preparation rather than work. Let's say the
Right.
period of June to August, I knew it would be a sort of lean months for my work. So at, given all of my time to GMAT, I used to, probably steal 4 to 5 hours a day, even in some days. So that's what helped me. And
Very
yeah.
smart, I would say, extremely smart. Yes, yes, please.
Yeah, actually, just habituating myself to the circumstances.
Right.
There's no other way, honestly. So yeah, and August end to September and October mid were very, crucial periods for a project I am on currently. So
Mhm.
I knew that, I wouldn't be able to give that much of time, and my, the concentration or the rules that, habits that need to be formed over a consistent period of time, that won't happen, because it would keep breaking up and I would lose concentration and focus. So I was very lean on those months in my preparation. I just let my mind go. I knew what my strengths were, and I clearly knew what my weaknesses were. I used that time to identify those things. And when I got the free time at the end of October, or October mid to November mid, where I gave my second attempt, I used that month to then finally focus on the weak areas that I identified. So that's how I.
Really, not succumbing to the circumstances is essentially you had to give in wherever and then you had to come back. At least that clarity was there. And that's a very, very crucial clarity, even for the rest of your life. Tomorrow you want to do an MBA, or even after an MBA at your work, that control state is essentially very, very important. And that's a thing to learn in every phase. Thank you for sharing that. So, Mayank, another quick question.
Yeah.
On the test day, any questions that you did was a surprise, was a shock, that you did not follow, or all the materials that you have studied actually came to rescue on the test day? And how was the test experience the second time that you gave around? Were you very much more confident this time?
Yeah. So I'll just compare it with the first attempt and the second attempt that I gave. So
Sure.
in the first attempt, what I found was, I had solved less of top mocks. I had just solved about 2 to 3 mocks of top, and I had given all the 6 of the official mocks.
Right.
So that probably skewed my understanding of the exam a bit, I would say. And the exam, the questions, let's say, even were the difficulty that I face normally in a mock, even the top mock, but the questions I thought were a bit lengthy. And what I lacked, what was a particular, flaw in my strategy was, uh, in the mocks I gave at my home, I used to not set a time where I exit the question. Exit time I had not set for a question, which Sandeep sir recommends that probably around 2 to 2.5 minutes that you should set for every question. So I used to manage at home, but what happened in the exam conditions, I could not manage that. I did not set exit time, so I rumbled on and on in some of the questions, and that kept eating away at my time. And
Right.
finally, in the end, I was just hurrying to finish the section, and I finally didn't finish it. So that what I realized, there's very important to set an exit strategy at every juncture. Even if you lose one question, that's still fine, rather than not being able to justice the rest of the questions, or even not finishing the exam.
That's
That
true.
was really one of my big takeaways from the first attempt. I was pretty confident with my abilities. I knew that, if I replicate my performance on a test day, I'd be able to give it. So what happened? I set up very clear exit strategy in the exam. I had, as Sandeep had mentioned, that you have to need checkpoints. It's in verbal. After every 9 questions, you have to check the clock. So that I used to follow religiously. And then I set exit strategy. Even if I was, if let's say around 2 3 minutes I've given to a question, I just let go of it. I didn't think much. I said, "ठीक है, let it be wrong. I can, I can digest that, but I'll not digest not finishing the section again." So that's what helped me this time around. And that happened actually, even in verbal and even in quant. Probably there were one question in both the section that I gave away, but that helped me finish the section pretty comfortably, and probably helped me achieve my score also. So that was one pretty, significant takeaway for me.
Right. So, in through your preparation, how was the support that you have garnered from the faculty, from Sandeep sir, from Priyancha, from any other sources? What would you have to say about that, Mayank?
Support was pretty amazing, honestly. And so clearly I got a plan as to what are my key weak areas and what do I need to focus on.
Right.
Then honestly it was just about, putting in those hard yards, honestly, because Sandeep has made available all the question material that is available in the world. So I
Right.
understood that, it's just about putting in the hard yards, because they had told me how to go about it, and I put in the work, and yeah, the results came.
Amazing. So now you have the score. So and it's pretty recent. So I'm assuming you still have to apply, right? So you're considering to apply now, or are you going to give a wait and then apply for the next cycle?
No, no, I'm applying in the round two cycle itself. So
Uh,
I've started applications. Actually, I've been working on Thought 3. I've already started working with him. So
Right.
I'm in process of, meeting the round two deadlines.
Perfect.
Hopefully they go well. Yeah.
How is the process coming along? It's a little, even that's going to be like a long of effort,
Yeah, correct,
putting
correct,
the
correct.
right narratives about your application, about your work experience. So hopefully you really get the admit. So next time around, we hear you with an admit, and hopefully the scholarship of your choice that you'd like, right?
Definitely.
So the last question, a bidding question, I would say that what is that one thing that you would advise based on your experience, that, right, if you look back now, what's one thing that a student should do in through their preparation, and one thing that they must not do, like the do's and the don'ts that you would, even if it could be more than one thing, you can
Yeah.
add them in the list. Yeah.
Sure, sure. So one thing I would be to not rush your preparation, to give the amount of time your brain or your muscle memory needs to form for a particular question or the approach that you want to deliver on exam day. I think that's very important. Sandeep sir teaches you the concepts, but then again, applying those consistently to a set of questions and building that habit, I think that is one of the clear strategies that everyone should follow. And also the second thing is, there's no substitute to hard work, honestly. Like, if people believe that, I face it myself, if I just do the concepts right and solve probably 10, 15 questions, it would be a false sense of achievement that I'll get, that, yeah, I can replicate this on exam day. But until and unless I build the volume of questions over 100, 200, 300 questions, religiously do the error logs and go through them again and again, that habit on the exam day needs to form. So I think putting in the hard yards, and honestly, there's no substitute to that. I religiously believe that. And a particular don't I would say is, I think, people focus on particular sections a bit too long. People need to have a, well-rounded strategy, I would say, that they need to solve volumes of question for each topic and have a clear strategy for each. Because on the exam day, it might be that a particular section came in much more difficult, or let's say a question was pretty much lengthy, and if you thought that was a strong section, and you are not able to do that properly, then you might lose confidence. So I would suggest, everything is done in a proper strategized manner. So yeah.
Right. Thank you again for sharing this. I genuinely felt very good talking to you. I have no doubt. I'm inspired by your dedication. Keep that up throughout your life. I think that we have seen that probably now, and even previously also it would have worked for you. That dedication, that focus, that you want to get it done with, irrespective of your circumstances, and really knowing, getting that clarity. Don't give that up any time in your life. I hope a very big admit comes your way this time, and we'll obviously know and hear about it, and we'll celebrate it again together, like how we celebrated your GMAT score. I must tell you that this is a big congratulations from Sandeep sir as well. We are very happy that we played a small but a significant role in this achievement of yours, and we would like to hear much bigger things from you. We'll stay connected on LinkedIn, and all the very best, I would say. Thank you for joining in, Mayank. Have a
Thank
lovely
you
day
so
ahead.
much for the support, I would say, and also to Sandeep sir for his sessions, and the amount of dedication that it puts into his material. I
Right.
think that's pretty much irreplaceable. And thank you so much, honestly.
You would definitely be one of the examples that what Sandeep sir keeps telling about consistency, about dedication, discipline. Yes, a lot of things come your way, work comes your way. There, many things that can come your way. But what the goal that you've set for yourself, what the dream that you've set for yourself, you didn't give up on that. It took you
Yeah.
2 more months longer than that you anticipated, but you planned very well, and that's what we urge everyone. Nobody should dream any less, and you did not. And we're really happy for that. And we're here to fulfill, we're here to see you fulfill that dream. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Meg.
Thank you.
Thank you, Priyansha, for joining, and you have a lovely day ahead. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Have a lovely day too. Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.